Introduction: The nature of fear.
Fear is a complex emotional and physiological response to a perceived threat or danger, deeply rooted in both our biological makeup and psychological experience. It serves as a survival mechanism, alerting us to potential harm and preparing us to react appropriately. However, fear can manifest in various ways, from rational and protective instincts to irrational and debilitating anxieties. To fully understand fear, we must explore its definitions, evolutionary purpose, and the distinction between psychological and physical fear.
Defining fear.
Fear can be defined as an emotional response triggered by a real or perceived threat. It encompasses a range of sensations, from mild unease to intense terror. Fear often initiates an automatic reaction commonly known as the fight, flight, or freeze response, which prepares the body to either confront the threat, escape it, or remain still to avoid detection. For example, encountering a wild animal in the woods might trigger intense fear, prompting the body to release adrenaline. This boosts your heart rate, sharpens your senses, and prepares your muscles to either run or defend yourself. On the other hand, fear can also arise from imagined threats, such as worrying about future events or recalling traumatic memories.
Types of fear.
Immediate fear, the response to a present, tangible threat, for example, seeing a snake. Anticipatory fear, fear of future events or situations, for example, fear of public speaking or fear of failing an exam. Social fear, fear related to social interactions or judgments, for example, fear of rejection or embarrassment.
The evolutionary purpose of fear.
Fear plays a critical role in human survival. From an evolutionary perspective, fear has helped humans and other animals avoid danger and increase their chances of survival. The primary function of fear is to keep us safe by alerting us to hazards and triggering an immediate response to protect ourselves.
Examples of evolutionary fear responses.
Predator avoidance. In prehistoric times, early humans who were fearful of predators, such as lions or wolves, were more likely to survive by staying vigilant and avoiding dangerous situations. This fear triggered responses like running away or seeking shelter. Environmental dangers. Fear of natural elements, such as heights, fire, or deep water, has evolutionary roots. These fears prevented people from putting themselves in life-threatening situations. For instance, someone with a fear of heights might avoid walking along a cliff edge, reducing the risk of falling. Group dynamics and social fear. Social fear, such as the fear of being ostracized or excluded from a community, also has evolutionary significance. Humans evolved in groups, and maintaining social bonds was crucial for survival. Being rejected by the group could mean less access to resources and protection, making the fear of social rejection deeply ingrained. In modern society, while we may no longer face the same life or death situations as our ancestors, these evolutionary fear mechanisms still operate. For example, public speaking may not present a physical danger, but the fear of failure or judgment can feel just as threatening due to its social implications.
Psychological vs. physical fear.
Though all fear stems from the same basic survival mechanism, it's important to distinguish between psychological fear and physical fear. Each type of fear originates from different sources and impacts individuals in distinct ways.
Psychological fear.
Psychological fear arises from thoughts, emotions, or imagined scenarios rather than direct physical danger. This type of fear is often tied to anxiety, stress, and mental health. It can stem from past experiences, cultural conditioning, or personal insecurities.
Example of psychological fear.
Fear of failure. Someone might feel overwhelmed by the possibility of failing at a task, such as giving a presentation or starting a new career. The fear is not tied to any immediate physical threat, but rather to feelings of inadequacy or judgment from others. Fear of the unknown. Moving to a new city or starting a new relationship can trigger psychological fear because of uncertainty. There's no physical harm involved, but the lack of familiarity or control can create a sense of dread. Psychological fear can be persistent and sometimes irrational, leading to conditions such as phobias or generalized anxiety disorder. Phobias, for instance, are intense fears of specific objects or situations, for example, fear of spiders or flying that pose little actual danger.
Physical fear.
Physical fear, on the other hand, is a response to an immediate, real-world threat that could cause bodily harm. It activates the fight-or-flight response, preparing the body to react quickly to a dangerous situation. This type of fear is often short-lived and dissipates once the threat is removed.
Example of physical fear.
Encountering a wild animal, if you're hiking and suddenly come across a bear, physical fear kicks in. Your heart races, your muscles tense, and your mind sharpens as your body prepares to either run or defend itself. Surviving an accident. Imagine being in a car accident. The fear you experience during and immediately after the crash is physical fear, as your body responds to the real possibility of harm. While physical fear is usually a direct response to danger, psychological fear can persist over long periods, influencing one's mental health and quality of life. The challenge for modern humans is that many of the fears we experience are no longer directly tied to survival, yet they can still feel as real and urgent as physical threats.
Conclusion.
Fear, whether psychological or physical, has been an essential component of human evolution. It has kept us alive by helping us avoid danger. But in today's world, fear also arises from complex social, emotional, and mental factors. Understanding the nature of fear allows us to manage it more effectively, whether through strategies to overcome irrational fears or by recognizing the role of fear in our everyday decisions. By distinguishing between the fear that keeps us safe and the fear that holds us back, we can learn to harness its power rather than be paralyzed by it.